Hello there and welcome to Mystic Brick. This is the very next D&D single plate build, Wicked Alliance. So without any delay, let's just hop right on into it. As you can see, I've put down a lot of the base work for this already, and now we're just gonna continue to build out some of this interior section here, which is gonna be beneath the tower. I'm gonna put down some treasure for our adventurers to find. So we got this little treasure chest with some jewels and a jar of dirt inside. We'll talk more about that a little bit later. But yeah, then I'm just gonna put a few other things around here. We got a little skeleton with his breastplate and a cool sword. He obviously died down here trying to get this treasure or some such thing. And then we're gonna put a few other things around here, like a little shield, a spear, and some gold pieces, and another sack. But yeah, just filling this out. And then once I've done that, I'm gonna just show you what I've done here with this removable wall. You've seen me do things like this in the past before as well, but just setting this up with some tile pieces and tile pieces with knobs, and it'll just slot in there very easily and is easily removable. And once we're looking good with all of that, we're gonna look at that tower. So this is a round tower, and in order to make round towers, you can do this a couple ways, but what I've done here, and lots of other people do this too, is to just place a single 1x1 round next to a 1x2 brick. I'm using masonry here to give that nice look to it. And then to secure all of that, I have a 2x12 plate, which I put across the center, and then I put some other plates running perpendicular to that, and you'll just kind of secure it that way, and then we'll fill in other pieces to flesh it out and put it down on a larger plate. But basically that's how that's gonna work. Now I'm gonna just continue to build up some of the modular section here by putting down some more tile pieces and tiles with knobs so that our tower can fit on there nice and neatly. Now that we've got all that set up, let's continue to build that tower a little bit. You can see now I've put down a lot of the base work, and I've got some cheese slopes and 1x2 slanted tiles in there as well at the base to make it look kind of cool. And then I'm just going to continue to put those 1x1 rounds and 1x2 masonry bricks in there to build it up. You can see I've got some of those rounded plates that I've slotted in between there as well and put on that base. It's all looking really good, and I'm leaving a gap in here because that's going to be the secret entrance down into the layer below where the treasure will be. I built a little bit of a platform structure here inside the tower, and we'll have one of our villains hanging out on top of that. But yeah, now that that's looking good, put it into the mock, and I think we're starting to get a good picture of what this is gonna look like. So now I'm gonna do some of the stairs that lead up to the tower. And as you've seen me do in a previous video, I'm gonna use the slotted stair technique by putting some of those sloping roof pieces on there. And I think this just creates a really nice and clean look, and gives a little bit of differentiation in your stair work. Putting some more artwork around there, and that's looking pretty good now. We're gonna move on to placing our trees, and I wanted to go with conifers for this, some pine trees and whatnot. So in order to do that, I'm putting down a couple of 1x2 rounded bricks, and then I'm inverting one of these and slotting a shaft piece in there, and those will just sit in really nicely. And then we can put the leafy fern pieces on top of that inverted 1x2 brick, rounded brick. And we're just going to continue to build up like so. I think this is a really cool way to make conifers. Looks really neat. Cool. You can also do smaller versions. You know, what I'm doing here is I'm taking one of those tubular Technic pieces and then putting a shaft in there and then slotting the leafy fern pieces on top of that, inverting a nose cone to create a little bit of distance, and then putting more of the leafy fern pieces on top. A nose cone on the very top with another shaft, and then we will be looking good. You can also use the candlestick pieces to do this as well. You'll find some instruction on that in the D&D set, and then what you'll do is you'll end up inserting that into a 1x2 rounded plate with knobs. But what I'm going to do here is take one of these Technic connector pieces and slot them into a 1x2 rounded plate. And that just makes for a really easy and cool little base for our skinny conifer tree. And then just going to continue to put in more of those trees, as you can see. Looking spiffy here. And now I think what I'm going to do is just put in some of the tile work for our pathway that's going to lead up to the little tower on top. So I'm going to use ingot pieces and some rounded 1x1 tiles and some 1x2 tiles in there as well. Wanted to choose some muted colors for this, not to take too much away from what's going on, but I think gives it a nice little pop of color. Works well. And then inside the tower you can see I've used black and blue pieces to make sort of a checkered floor pattern. You know, maybe this was once a prestigious little tower sitting on top of this mountain, but it has long since been in ruin. And now let's go take a look at our minifigs. Okay, first off, we've got this little dwarf here, and he's got a really cool armor and helm that come from Pickle Bricks, as well as a really cool mace, beard, and shield that also come from Pickle Brick. Next up, we have an elf wizard. I've given him a little wand and a spell book. His torso piece is from Gandalf, one of the earlier Lord of the Rings Gandalfs. And then the legs are from the Mind Flare that came with the D&D CMF set. And we've got that really cool hairpiece from one of the Lord of the Rings sets as well. Next up, we have our human rogue, and I've given her some sais that come from one of the Ninjago sets, and that really cool sword as well. Her legs are from one of the Viking sets. I'm not quite sure where the torso comes from. And then here we have my take on a male dryad, which are really rare in the D&D world, but sometimes they're around. I tried to put this together as best I could using the fawn legs from one of the earlier CMFs, and then I also took the torso piece from the Triceratops Costume Fan CMF 25, and then I just turned that around. Then the hair piece is from Marvel CMF 2, the Wolfman. Next up, we've got our Drow Ranger, and she's got a torso piece that comes from K-Town Bricks. This really cool quiver that comes from Pickle Bricks. Not sure where the legs come from, but they've got that nice red streak in there. And then that really cool hair piece as well. Our second Drow has this really cool torso piece. Also, not quite sure where that comes from, but I changed the arms out to match the color and turned it around, and then the legs are from the Quartermaster Pirate CMF 27, and then these really cool daggers come from Pickle Bricks. And then lastly, we have our Displacer Beast, which comes right out of the D&D set, and I think is a really cool brick-built little creature here. I dig the design. I think they did a great job. And yeah, this will be the final enemy that our heroes have to face. Okay, let's get right on into the action then. Our heroes seem to have stumbled across this abandoned tower, or what they think is an abandoned tower, on their way to some greater quest, no doubt. And once they decide to check it out, they'll be immediately confronted with that male dryad and these two drow that have formed some sort of wicked alliance. And little do our adventurers know, but there's an even more terrifying beast waiting for them underneath that tower. But yeah, you can get a kind of a really cool little look at everything in place here. I think this all turned out really well. I'm happy with it. But yeah, our adventurers come storming up the stairs here to take on their enemies. And hopefully they'll be successful. This scene is what a little action sequence might look like, and you can see our Dryad is engaging with our elf wizard here, both of them slinging spells here very ferociously. Our drow have taken notice and are entering the fight as well, and hopefully our little dwarf and rogue will be able to take them out. If our adventurers are able to accomplish this all successfully, they'll be able to loot the area around the tower. Might discover that chest there with some gold hanging out inside it. It's a really cool little helm over there too, and a sword. And also, if they're astute enough, they'll be able to roll perception and figure out that there is a secret trapdoor that leads from the tower down below to greater treasure and, of course, greater danger. But these then are the weapons and items that they might collect after this battle. You got that really cool helm, a cool sword as well, these daggers that the drow rogue had, which come from Pickle Bricks, and then that really cool red bow from CMF 27, the Cupid, and then yeah, that staff and quiver as well. This is what our adventurers might look like if they chose to pick up some of those items, and that is entirely up to you and your discretion. But onward they go, and once discovering the hidden trapdoor, they're going to try to get down in there. You can see the elf has already teleported down in there. Maybe one of them has some rope and they can climb down too, or they'll have to all be teleported down. And once in that deeper lair, they'll discover, of course, this hidden treasure hoard and the remains as well of those that have come before them. At this point, they're probably feeling pretty good and thinking that this has been an easy enough find. There certainly seem to be some precious items hereabout. Just going to show you again that removable wall and how easily it comes away. And then we can get a better look at our adventurers as they congregate around this treasure. Of course, they are not ready for the surprise that is coming. Oh, the Displacer Beast that suddenly appears out of nowhere. And is this actually where it is? Because as we well know, Displacer Beasts are masters of illusion. So this might be quite a grueling fight, and especially because they have been surprised. Hopefully our heroes will be able to overcome this monstrosity, but I don't think it's going to be easy. The wizard and the rogue definitely seem like they're unhappy about that beast attacking their dwarven friend, and I think will muster the strength and courage to combat it. If that has been successful, then this is the loot that they will acquire, and here inside that chest is that jar of dirt, much to their disappointment, I'm sure, at first, but who knows, maybe it's a magical jar of dirt with some, magical properties. I guess I'll have to find out. Okay, so here are the weapons and items that they'll get from that loot. we can see that our wizard might want to take that short sword. Maybe our dwarf fighter is going to take the spear and shield, and our little rogue will take that breastplate. All up to you, of course. Alright, so that is the adventure, and I just wanted to give you one final look at the MOC in its entirety. Really enjoyed building this one. I loved doing the trees and the rounded tower. I think that was really cool. Yeah, and hopefully it gives you some ideas on what you might do in your campaigns. I am really hoping at some point that LEGO decides to expand their D&D collection. Hopefully we'll get some more. I don't think that's probably going to happen in the near future, but you know, perhaps in the distant, we shall see. I really enjoy building these, and I think that there's definitely enough interest around them, so we can hope for these things, I suppose. I really hope that you've enjoyed this build, you know, and that you're enjoying this series. I just love making these builds so much, and I want to keep trying out new and more crazy techniques as I go along. I'll probably be doing some builds that are more than just a single plate, that are larger, so yeah, look out for those in the near future. But just wanted to say thanks again for all of your support on this channel. I really appreciate each and every one of you tuning in every week to see the things that I'm doing here. You know, I feel like I've learned a lot since I've begun this journey, and will continue to do so. There's so much more to figure out and so many more techniques to master, but I'm having so much fun doing this. So yeah, thanks again, and you know, I'll see you next week. All right, bye now.